Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Thank you for joining me once again for this Magic the Gathering box opening. Now, the day has come. Yes, the dramatic music is going, and we are coming through on the final battle. But the one thing that we do know is that we will never give up. We will always shoot for the lucky shot. And at the very end, we're going to hear that victory fanfare. You know which one I'm talking about. Do 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 do. That's right. Collector booster box there for Final Fantasy. I went in and I decided to get a box there. And I'm excited. I will say that I think Bloomborough is definitely the recent Magic the Gathering set that I enjoy the most. However, as someone that very much enjoys Final Fantasy, I am also excited for this set as well. I'm more excited for this set, at least, than I am for Spider-Man. I'm more of a Final Fantasy person than I am Marvel, but Spider-Man is also not my favorite Marvel superhero. So, we are going to be popping open these 12 packs. Please send me your energy, send me your luck. We want to get some really pretty cards here. And this is our opportunity to do so. I've barely looked at anything that have come up in the set. So we're going to be going through these one by one here. Starting off with a little hero token there. Looks like a character probably similar to Shantoto, except they're goth. So that's what we're going to be going for there. Starting off with a hero, and the backside there is going to be a copy. It's a little bit of Cecil Harvey on the back there. So let's see what we end up getting. Alrighty. First card is going to be Vane's Trickery from Final Fantasy XII. 1 and a black for an instant with Kicker, which will be sacrifice an artifact or a creature. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn, and if the spell is kicked, it gets -6/-6 until end of turn. I mean, we have had cards like Fatal Push be big there. The Kicker might be easy depending on how things go, but having something have died, because that can also include an opponent's thing, is a little bit easier than sacrificing your own stuff. So I'm not sure how much that will be impacting there. Second card is going to be an Ahriman. Okay. I fought a lot of these guys here. The Final Fantasy game that I've played the most is Tactics Advance. I love that growing up, and this was one of the enemies that I remember fighting a whole lot against. So an Ahriman is going to be a 2 and a black for a 2/2 Eye Horror with Flying and Death Touch, and you can pay 3 and sack another creature or artifact to draw a card. Okay, getting a little bit of the monsters there. That's really nice. I always wanted to get big on the Blue Mage action there, so that will be able to command the monsters. Or the Blue Mage used the monster's abilities. That's what it was. Also going to be getting a land here. One of our towns, Sherlayan, Nation of Scholars from Final Fantasy XIV. I have played none of it, though one of my best friends there, he is big on it there, so I'm sure that he would know what this is. But it's going to be just your standard white-blue tap land there. It'll enter the battlefield tapped, but it is going to be a town, so any town synergies will be good for that one there. And is this going to be our final common there? Nope. So 3 commons there, and we're going to be getting Queen Braun from Final Fantasy IX there with all of the black mages in the back. 2 and a red for a 2/1 legendary human noble with prowess, so it'll get that +1/+1 on non-creature spells. Whenever Queen Braun attacks, you create a 0/1 black wizard creature token with whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this token deals 1 damage to each opponent there. Okay, so getting a little bit of damage in there with the black mages there, and that'll be another legendary creature for us. And it looks like we do have a little bit of a double-faced card, but we'll get to that in a moment. Ooh, Cloud of Darkness, one of the big bads from Final Fantasy III there. Another one of the big Final Fantasy games that I had played there was Dissidia. So I'm familiar with a lot of the big bads and the main characters there. Cloud of Darkness, 2 a black and 2 green for a 3/3 legendary avatar with flying, and has an ability of Particle Beam. When Cloud of Darkness enters, target creature an opponent controls gets -X/-X until end of turn, where X is the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. So unfortunately, it is just a singular effect instead of multiple. So probably not going to be running it as a commander, and it's a little bit too slow and not powerful enough to see play in any of the other formats there. So, it's just going to be a interesting card maybe to put in the 99. I mean, you mill stuff out, then you could potentially get some value out of it. But we are going to now go on to the villain of Final Fantasy II, the Emperor of Palamecia, in my colors of blue and red there. A 2/2 legendary human noble wizard with tap to add a blue or a red. And you spend this mana only to cast non-creature spells. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, put a +1/+1 counter on the Emperor of Palamecia, and then if it has 3 or more +1/+1s on it, you transform it. And that's going to be transforming into a 3/3 Lord Master of Hell. Still going to be a blue-red creature there. Now going to be tacking on Demon on top of that Noble Wizard. It's no longer a human. And it's going to have Starfall now. So, this has at least 3 +1/+1s unless you flipped it somehow, because there are ways to do that. Starfall is whenever the Lord Master of Hell attacks, it deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of non-creature, non-land cards in your graveyard. Ooh, now this one is actually very interesting. And it's blue and green, so it doesn't cost a whole lot to get out there. It ramps you in with that blue and green. And sure, you're casting non-creature spells, but it makes him bigger. And then if you're able to flip him afterwards there, with those 3 that you theoretically used on him, anytime that you attack, you give up the ability to get an extra mana into the pool. But you're swinging in with your 3/3 that has 3 +1/+1 counters on it, and you're dealing 3 damage to each opponent because you have at least those 3 non-creature, non-land cards in your graveyard. Very, very nice. Ooh, it's really exciting with these ones here. Up next here, we're going to have, looks like a full art here there of Quina Coup Gourmet from Final Fantasy IX there. 2 and a green for a 2/3 legendary Coup. If 1 or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus a 1/1 green frog creature token are created instead. Alrighty, got to create more tokens there. We have plenty of those there, so that's always nifty to get. And you can pay 2 and sacrifice a frog to put a +1/+1 counter on Quina. Okay, just a normal, just a normal card there for us. Going into our next one, we're going to have, summon a Chocomog. And they're so cute together. This is going to be a 2 and a white for a 3/3 enchantment Saga Bird Moogle. Look at all those types there. And all 4 of its abilities for its sagas are going to be other creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Just your basic common saga there. Not doing a whole lot there, but it is terribly cute. So I am definitely enjoying that. Well, it looks like we're going to get another double face card there in a moment, but we're going to get our good old islands here. Islands from Final Fantasy X out on the beach there with Yuna and Tidus there, maybe practicing a little bit of blitzball and being able to just enjoy the environments of Spira. Very, very nice. And it looks like we are going to be getting here, a little bit of Sarah Farron, the kind of MacGuffin of Final Fantasy 13. Final Fantasy 13 actually being the first Final Fantasy that I ever played completely through. So Sarah's going to be a 1, a green, and a white for a 2/2 legendary human citizen. With the first legendary creature spell you cast each turn costs 2 less to cast. A little bit of this seems very, very good in Captain Sisse there, which wants to play a lot of legendary creatures. Tap it to go grab a legendary creature. This seems good. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control 2 or more other legendary creatures, you may transform Sarah. And Sarah is going to... Is she turning into... I'm trying to determine the coloration there. I think it's still green. I think it's still a green-white. Crystallized Sarah, who is going to become a legendary artifact, which will retain the first legendary creature spell you cast each turn will cost 2 less to cast. That's good. We want to keep that. But it will also give all of your legendary creatures +2/+2. So also giving a little bit of extra into something like Joda the Unifier there. Man, that is a nifty one to think of there. So we're definitely holding on to that one there, thinking of something up. Well, looks like we got another double facer there eventually, but our next one is going to be a little bit of Yuna's Whistle there. This one is going to be straight from our commander set there. Yuna's Whistle is going to be 1 and 2 green for an instant with reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. When you reveal a creature card, this way, put X +1/+1 counters on target creature you control, where X is the mana value of that card. Okay, so if you put a lot of high mana cost cards in your deck there, then you can put a lot of +1/+1 counters on something there. Or if you fix your deck and you have put something big on the top there, giving something a whole lot of extra counters sounds nice. So we're going to be putting that one in here as well. Thank you very much. Get our next one, our other double face there. But our next card is going to be a little bit of Summon Brynhildr. Now, this is the Brynhildr from Final Fantasy 13 that Saz uses. It's going to be a 1 and a red for a 2/1 enchantment Saga Knight. Okay, so kind of cheap one to play out there. So, it could be playable with how inexpensive it is. Chain, exile the top card of your library during any turn you put a lore counter on this saga, you may play that card. Okay, so because this comes in and you add a lore counter on it, you can play it that first turn, you can play it the second turn, and you can play it also the third turn when it gets exiled. So you've got 3 turns to play an extra card. It's a 2/1, so not terribly powerful. And Gestalt mode, on the second and the third turn that this is out, when you next cast a creature spell this turn, it gains haste until end of turn. Okay, so you're given a little something hasty there. I know of a couple of 3 mana spells, 3 mana creatures that definitely would benefit from having haste there. So this is definitely something to think of for that there. Next up, we are going to have Jill, Shiva's Dominant, and our full art there from Final Fantasy 16, our newest entry. Jill is going to be 2 and a blue for a 2/2 legendary human noble warrior with, when it enters, you return up to 1 other target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. So a little bit of recursion. You get to replay something there if you want to. Or if you want to just get rid of something on your opponent's field, that's possible as well. But for 3 and 2 blue, you can exile Jill and then return her to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. You only activate that as a sorcery, though. And she is going to come in as Shiva, the Warden of Ice. Another legendary enchantment saga elemental, which will be a 4/5. And so the first turn that it's out, as well as the second one, it will make target creature can't be blocked this turn. So you make one thing unblockable for the turn. And for the final turn, she's going to activate Cold Snap, which will tap all lands your opponents control. you exile Shiva and then return to the battlefield face up. So on that very last one there, you'll get Jill back here as the 2/2, but you tap down all lands your opponents control. That's not just one. So if you're playing in a game of Commander, you're tapping down 3 players worth of lands on that last one there. That's a pretty harsh ability that can go off there. Okay. That's nifty there. So it looks like we got 2 remaining here. We got 1 and 2, so hopefully we've got some good luck going on here for first pack luck. And, ooh, it's going to be a Shadowbringers. Okay, so this is going to be one of those extra sheet ones there. So it looks like it's not going to be anything super special. Shadowbringers is going to be a Dovin's Veto, which is a white and a blue instant with the spell can't be countered, and you counter target non-creature spell. Okay, very nice, very nice. So at least we'll have it there, even if it's not the most amazing one there. So we are going to move these out, and I still really, really like the artwork on this one here. I like the colors of her hair, the goth aesthetic there. It's a very nice looking hero card. Alrighty, and for our big card there for the first pack, we are going to be getting a Summon Titan. Okay, so not one of our big hitters there, but, we'll still take anything that we can get, especially with these alternate arts there. So what is Summon Titan? It will be a 3 and 2 green for a 7/7 Enchantment Saga Giant with Reach and Trample. With when it comes out, you'll mill 5 cards. The next turn that this is out, you'll return all lands from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. And then on the final turn that it is around until the end of turn, another target creature you control gains trample and gets +X/+X, where X is the number of lands you control. Okay, so, just a little bit of a little pump effect there, but nothing super amazing for that one there. So unfortunately, not much in terms of first pack luck. So we're going to keep on going every single thing. We're looking for luck there because if this is not an inexpensive set to be going in on with all of the people that are interested in it. So we are going to be starting off with a bird. Good old Chocobo there. We love our Chocobos. Chocobos and a little bit of Wizard. Ooh, so we're getting both of the characters that I like there. The only other one to get would be a Moogle, so hopefully on a future one we can get that there. So we're going to be starting off with a white Auracite, which is going to be 2 and 2 white for an artifact. With when this artifact enters, you'll exile target non-land permanent opponent controls until this artifact leaves the battlefield, but it gains that extra ability of being able to tap to add a white. Now this is, I believe, one more. It costs 1 more than its average rate, but if you're able to tap it for the white, then you're essentially getting it for the normal rate, and if you can keep it out for a little bit longer, then you do get a slight benefit there. Next one we're going to have there is a little bit of Crossroads Village. I thought that I had 2 in my hand by accident, but Crossroads Village is going to be another land town, so more town synergy. This will enter the battlefield tapped, and as it enters, you'll choose a color, and you can tap this to add 1 mana of that chosen color. All right, so we are getting to choose exactly what we want. A bit of mana fixing never hurt anything there, so we'll certainly take some of that there. As I said, take everything that we possibly can. We want it. And up next, we're going to have Warrior's Sword, which is going to be 3 and a red for an artifact equipment. With job select, when this equipment enters, you create a 1/1 colorless hero creature token, then attach this to it. So, a little bit of one of these guys here. When equipped creature will get +3/+2 and is a warrior in addition to its other types. Equipped of 5. So this is it's a pretty expensive card that honestly does not do a whole lot there. You get a 1/1 that this will attach to, so that 1/1 will be a 4/3, but that's about it, and it costs a whole lot to re-equip it. So, good to get one of them there, but it's an expensive card. Like, it's expensive mana-wise to be able to use, so it's probably not seeing much play. Oh, we're going to get another summon here. Summon Primal Garuda. This is going to be 3 and a white for an enchantment creature Saga Harpy, 3/3 with flying. with when it ETBs, you'll do Aerial Blast. This will deal 4 damage to target tapped creature and opponent controls. And on the second and third turn there, Slipstream is going to have another target creature you control get +1/+0 and flying until end of turn there, so giving something a little bit of evasion. Not too shabby, but it is a little bit expensive there with the 4 mana, so, probably is not going to see much play either there. Up next, we're going to have a Chocobo Racetrack. Ah, there's my boys, the Chocobo, and they're also right in the little black one there. This is going to be 3 and 2 green for an artifact with landfall. Whenever a land you control ETBs, you'll create a 2/2 green bird creature token with. Whenever a land you control enters, this token gets +1/+0 until end of turn. That is the little Chocobo that we had in here. This wizard is going to be created from that Queen Brawn, and we're going to have this bird token here. But, getting one of these 2/2s anytime that you put in a land, and then that land also buffs all the ones that you have, not too shabby. I mean, I could definitely see it in a bird-centric commander deck, but 5 mana for the artifact is going to be a little bit too expensive for us to be trying to run in something that's playing quickly there. Up next, we're going to have Relentless X ATMO 92 from our good old Final Fantasy VIII there. 6 colorless mana for a 6/5 artifact, a Robot Spider. Ooh, this creature can't be blocked except by 3 or more creatures, kind of going into that whole arc there of having 3 characters on the field at a time for kind of the later on series. I know some of the earlier ones you could have 4, but this time you're only having 3. For 8 mana, you can return this card from the graveyard to the battlefield tapped with a finality counter on it, and when it dies that time with the finality counter, it will be exiled. So, a lot more flavor in that one there, just kind of big guy is kind of what it's looking like. And we're going to get a little bit of Zidane, Tantalus Thief. This is going to be our 3 red and a white for a 3/3 legendary human mutant scout without monkey tail. I guess that's what makes them the mutants. When Zidane enters, you gain control of target creature and opponent controls until end of turn. Untap it, it gains lifelink and haste until end of turn. So, get a little bit of that, what's that called there? I'm trying to remember. And, it lets you steal the creatures there in red. But whenever an opponent gains control of a permanent from you, you create a treasure token. So, that, I believe, includes whenever you give back the creature that attacked them, you will be able to get that treasure. So good old little Zidane. But because it's from 9 there, I understand why he's not necessarily the in a higher rarity. Just, I'm not sure if 9 was really all that popular of the Final Fantasies. Oh, it looks like we got another double-faced one coming up. But first, we're going to have a little bit of Summon Esperama. So this is going to be 2 and 2 red for a 3/3 Enchantment Saga Wizard. And this is going to have Judgment Bolt on the turn that it comes out, which will deal damage equal to the number of non-creature, non-land cards in your graveyard to target creature and opponent control. So kind of very similar to that other one that we had there. Which one was that? The Emperor? Yeah, kind of similar to the Emperor there. And on its second and third one, wizards you control get +1/+0 until end of turn, kind of really delving into that Esper roots there of Final Fantasy VI. So, getting all of those ones there is nice. Seeing some familiar faces. We're also going to be getting a nice little forest with a bunch of Chocobo. Look how cute they are. Oh, they're being adorable there. They're using out their little chicks all around there. Oh, that's fantastic. And looks like we're going in here for our double-face card, which is going to be our protagonist from Final Fantasy IV, Cecil the Dark Knight. One that I know that people are looking at in terms of playability, because look at that. It is a 2/3 for 1 black mana. That is a very good rate. Legendary creature, human knight, death touch there, so, it's killing anything it goes up against there, any 2/2 or lower. But it's also going to have darkness, so its downside is whenever it will deal damage, you also lose that much life. And if your life total is less than or equal to half of your starting life, total, you'll untap Cecil and you'll transform him. So, get yourself down there with fetch lands or anything else, kind of like how you would with Death Shadow, kind of getting low down. And Cecil is going to turn into a white creature. Cecil Redeemed Paladin, a 4/4 legendary human knight with lifelink and protect. Whenever Cecil attacks, other attacking creatures gain indestructible until the end of turn. So all those creatures that you had that were attacking in, yep, they're going to be safe there. And he also has lifelink, so you're also going to be gaining that life back there. So all in all, it is a very hard-hitting card because there are easy ways to get your life total to less than half in a couple of turns there. So 1 mana for essentially a 4/4 with lifelink and with an attack trigger of giving everything indestructible, it's very, very good. So certainly take that there. Ooh, we're already getting a few of the protagonists. Let's keep on going. Oh, we're going to get one of our antagonists from Final Fantasy VII, the Mother, Genova, Ancient Calamity, in this alternate art where she looks absolutely horrific. 2, a black and a green for a 1/5 legendary alien. So now that they're putting more aliens in here, I wonder if we're going to get some of those with Edge of Eternities. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to Genova's power on up to one other target creature. That creature becomes a mutant in addition to its other types. Well, we've already got a few mutants. But whenever a mutant you control dies during your turn, you draw cards equal to its power. Okay, so really big defensive one there. And if we remember, black, green, toughness that far exceeds its power, that's going into some Toughness Matters decks. At the beginning of your turn, you just put any number of 1/1 counters equal to this power. So you don't need to put it up any higher, but even if you put that +1/+1 on something there, it makes it a little bit bigger, but it makes it a mutant. So unfortunately, its power is what equates to what you drop, but there are some that do have the 1, 2, 3. So, if they even get an extra 1 on there, if something dies, you could be getting 1, 2, 3, 4 cards there. That's not too bad. I think that this one has a home in that one there, definitely, but I'm sure that you could find other places for the +1/+1 counter synergy there. So I think that's a pretty decent one to be able to be playable. Next one up is going to be a little bit of Siegfried, the Famed Swordsman, one of our partners there from Final Fantasy VI. 3 and a black for a 2/2 legendary creature, Human Warrior Rogue from the Commander set there. This is going to have Menace, and when it enters, you'll mill 3 cards and put X +1/+1 counters on Siegfried, where X is twice the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Okay, so synergizing up with that Terra that also mills, you get a bunch of cards into your graveyard there, and you can make this guy pretty big because, it's twice the number of creatures, so make a pretty creature-centric deck there, and you could be hitting pretty hard with that one there. Next up, we're going to be grabbing a little bit of Summon, Esper Velagarmonda. So another one of our commander cards there. I haven't really looked at any of the commander cards other than the phased cards there, so that this is all going to be very new for it. So this is going to be a 3 and a red for a 3/3 Enchantment Saga Drake with Flying and Haste, so it will be able to attack on that first turn there. You'll be exiling an instant or sorcery card from each graveyard on the first turn there. And on the second, third, and fourth, you will be able to add a red mana for each lore counter on this saga. You may cast an instant or sorcery card exiled with this saga, and mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. Ooh, this is actually very, very interesting there. Definitely going into some of that I play your deck type of shenanigans there. Exiling one of the best instants or sorceries there, but then it's like on the second turn, you're getting 2 extra red mana. On the third turn, you're getting 3. On the fourth, you're getting 4 when this goes away, but it's 4 mana to be able to play the additional spells that you've exiled as well, and you can spend any mana to cast them there. So all in all, this might not be the best card there, but it's a very interesting one for those. And I just want to make sure that I had these in the right order there. I don't think, I was thinking, did I put any of the commander ones in here, since I don't think we got 2 commander ones last time. So theoretically, this one should be one of these bonus sheet cards, and this one is going to be, oh yes, this is one of the ones I wanted to get there. Yuffie Kisaragi, my favorite companion from Final Fantasy VII. I like the ninja aesthetic there, but she is also going to be a Yuriko, the Tiger's Shadow. Oh yeah, getting a little bit of upgrade for Yuriko. One of really dangerous commanders there. One a blue and a black for a legendary human ninja with Commander Ninjutsu, blue and black, meaning that if Yuriko, or Yuffie in this case, is in your command zone, and you attack in with a creature, and that creature is unblocked, you can pay the Commander Ninjutsu cost to put it, I believe, from either your hand or the command zone, and you get to have it tapped and attacking there, and because it was unblocked, because you're past declare blockers step there, this will hit. Now it's only a 1/3, but when in for a ninja you control deals combat damage to a player, you reveal the top card of your library and put it into your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to that card's mana value. This is just such a good one there. Now I know that there's an infinite combo with it, but I don't like using infinite combos. So it's not anything that would ever get used by me per se, but it's just so fantastic to get a really, really nice one from the bonus sheet there. So I am going to be sleeving that up here because I want to make sure that it is nice and pristine for when I do end up using it. Let me just move these down a little bit more there. Alrighty. And thank you, Wizard. Thank you, Chocobo. You did very, very well for us. And for our final card in the pack there, giving a little bit of luck, sending the magic. Ooh, it's going to be Y'shtola. Oh, yeah. This is my that same best friend who plays Final Fantasy XIV. This is the girl for him. Y'shtola Rule, 4 and 2 blue, 3/5 legendary cat druid. At the beginning of your end step, exile target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. Then if it's the first end step of the turn, there is an additional end step after this, so you get to trigger all of those end steps again. Try to find some other cards that have that at the end step, their ability triggers there, such as Monarch. You draw a card if you're the Monarch at the beginning of your end step. So getting 2 end steps, you draw 2 cards there. So there's already a synergy with that one there. So this, and because there are additional end steps, you get to essentially exile 2 creatures you control to be able to give them their ETB triggers. You get to do it twice there. So you get ETB triggers again. So it's end step triggers and ETB triggers. You want a little bit of both of them. So 2 monsters of female characters that we are getting in that pack there. Pack 1 might have started us off kind of slow there, but we ended up getting some heaters here. Oh yeah. Going in for our 3rd pack. Need to rub it up for a little bit of luck, get some of that Final Fantasy magic in here. May the materia be with you, or whatever. I'm just looking for some cool cards. So it's looking like we're getting different types of heroes. We're getting a little bit of Viera in this one here. I really can't remember what the Shantoto race is, but I do remember this was Viera. And we're getting another little Chocobo in along with this one as well. So hopefully Chocobo will bring us a little bit of luck. First card up is going to be a little bit of ice magic. Okay, so this is going to have that interesting tiered mechanic. 1 and a blue for an instant with tiered. You choose an additional cost on top of the 1 and the blue. If you pay nothing extra, you'll cast Blizzard and return target creature to its owner's hand, which isn't too bad. I mean, you can play your own stuff again there if you really want to. Or you can pay 2 extra to cast Blizzara. So for 4 mana, you target creature's owner puts it on their choice of the top or the bottom of their library. So, you could either prevent someone from drawing a new card that turn there, or you can set yourself up if you wanted to do something nasty like we saw with the Yuna, the Yuna's Whistle there. Or for Blizzaga for an additional 5 and a blue. So total there of 8 mana. Target creature's owner shuffles it into their library. So it's a lot of mana to get that Blizzaga. But it does 2 things. One, it removes that creature from the field, but it puts it into a place that it's a lot harder to get. Exile is pretty hard, but graveyard, their hand, on top of their deck, because if they really, really want it, for Blizzara, they're going to put it there because they get the choice. But shuffling into their deck, if they've set their deck up in some way, you're also shuffling their deck. But it is a big investment to do, and it's only 1. So unless you have one of the cards that say if you target like a player, you target all the players there, or if you're able to copy it, you're only hitting one person, and that can be a little bit tricky for you there. So next up, we're going to get a little bit of Red Mage's Rapier. I remember Eldina's Cup was the way to be able to get Elda in Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced there, and I always liked that name. Come to find out that actually one of my great aunts is named Elda. So it also has a very special place in my heart there. She passed before I was born there, so, but it's part of my family legacy. So this is going to be 1 and I red for an equipment with Job Select. When this ETBs, you'll create that 1/1 hero, colorless hero creature token. So they're all colorless, okay? So you're going to be getting that Vera, which is very fitting there because Eldo, I think, was a Viera there in Tactics Advance. Equipped creature has whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn, and is a wizard in addition to its type. So, you cast a couple of non-creature spells and you're hitting in there for some decent damage there. But overall, it's not going to be a super impactful card there. We're also going to be getting a little fight on. So, fighting up to, going to be able to cast a little bit of Resurrection, a little bit of black magic there. 2 and a black for an instant with return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. So, getting a little bit of recursion just back to your hand. So if you're not able to play something straight out of your graveyard, I guess this is the way to do it. But it is 3 mana, so probably not anything in Standard, Modern, anything like that there. But who knows, maybe you want to get something like that in Commander. Next up, we are going to grab a little bit of Crystal's Chosen. Getting some of our Onion Knights out there. Big mana intensive spell. 5 and 2 white for a sorcery with create 4 1/1 colorless hero creature tokens, and then you put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So you better have a board state out prior, because just getting 4 2/2s is not worth 6 mana there. So, it's big investment. You better have your go wide board already set up for that one there. Also going to get a little bit of Poison the Waters, getting a little bit of that Kefka action. Now, Kefka is probably one of the best villains from Final Fantasy, not to mention that his color scheme is just so amazing there. What a goated villain. So 1 and a black for a sorcery with choose 1. All creatures get -1/-1 until end of turn. Give a little bit of Massacre Girl action. Or target player reveals their hand. You choose an artifact or creature from it, and that player discards that card. Unfortunately, it's not 1 mana, because then it would be very Thoughtseize-like, and that would definitely see, I think, play in some of the standard formats there. But 2 mana to do that there might be a little bit too expensive. However, you know, if you do have something out there like Cecil that's already defending you out, that's a 2/3 that can block some stuff there, maybe spending the 2 to be able to get rid of stuff in your opponent's hand could be pretty good. You can't get rid of instants or sorceries, but creatures, artifacts, probably you're going to get rid of creatures, let's be honest there. I don't think that there's a lot of artifacts that you would get rid of in a normal, like, standard game there. But, you know, maybe Commander, you want to get rid of artifacts there. And we're also, getting a little bit of one of the villains there from Final Fantasy XII, and probably one of the characters that had the coolest final moves in Dissidia Duodecim, Judge Magister Gabrinth. White and a black for a legendary human advisor knight with a 2/2 menace. Whenever another creature or artifact you control dies, you put a +1/+1 counter on Judge Magister Gabrinth. Very, very nice just to be able to get him out there. All right, so next up, we are going to be spying a double-face card there, but we are going to be getting another Summon Esper Rama. So we had seen this one there before. I can't quite remember if we had gotten this one in the foil there, but this one is going to be that other alternate artwork there, so we'll certainly take that there. So maybe the alternate artworks we're going to get are going to be these sagas. Maybe not. Who knows? We'll be able to find out. But we are also going to get here a little bit of Crystal Fragments for our double face card, which is going to be 1 white mana for an artifact equipment, which is going to have equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has an equip cost of 1. So, you know, kind of just your very basic equipment on that point. But for an extra investment of 5 and 2 white, you'll exile this equipment and then return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control, activate only as a sorcery, and it's going to come in as Summon Alexander, the big fortress boy. This is going to be a 4/3 enchantment saga construct with flying. First turn there, it's going to prevent all damage that would be dealt to creatures you control this turn, as well as on the second turn. And on the third and last turn that this is out, it's going to tap all creatures your opponents control, so you get to be able to swing in there. However, you know, it is a big mana investment to be able to get to it. So unfortunately, I think that it is going to be relegated to the side and not played at all, though it is a very interesting card there. I think all of the sagas are pretty interesting. So up next, I think, yep, we're going to have a little bit of a land there. This one's from Final Fantasy V. Bart's and Final Fantasy V and X-Death are not ones that I have gone through all that much yet in terms of story or lore, so I don't really know anything about it, but I do like the sense there of it's just a bunch of ships in a graveyard there. Instead of making it an island, making it a swamp makes it very ominous and spooky, so I do enjoy that. Getting into our meat and potatoes there, we're going to have foil of the regular art for Genova, Ancient Calamity. So unfortunately already getting into a little bit of repeats there. However, you know, we don't have this artwork yet, and we're not pulling any other packs so far. But I definitely prefer this alternate art of Genova just because it does look all that much more creepy. So but we are getting both versions of it there, so that is always a plus for us there. I just hope that for the alternate ones, we're going to get some extras. Or we won't be getting any duplicates in this. Not like, well, it probably hasn't gone up at this point here because I want to get this one out sooner rather than later, but you'll see what I mean. Next up, we're going to get from our commander decks a little bit of Cyan, Vengeful Samurai, also from our Final Fantasy VI. I guess Final Fantasy VI is really enjoying its time with us here. Pretty expensive, 6 and a white for a 3/3 legendary human samurai. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature card in your graveyard, so synergizing a lot with that creature cards in the graveyard. This will also have double strike, and whenever 1 or more creature cards leave your graveyard, you put a +1/+1 counter on Cyan. So we did see a lot of that with the Sultai recently there, dealing with bringing cards out of the graveyard. But, I mean, we have other ways of doing that in white and black, which, I mean, that is what Terra's deck is all about, white, black, and red. But there's a lot of ways to bring things back in those colors. So do not mind the the double-sided card there. We'll be getting to that in a moment, but we are going to be getting Summon Primal Odin there. This is a card that has some interest in it because of that second mode there. So it's going to be 4 and 2 black for a 5/3 Enchantment Saga Knight with first mode, when it comes out, is going to be Gungnir, which is going to destroy target creature an opponent controls. For 6 mana, it seems very fair that it can just destroy one thing upon entering. But its second skill, Zentetsken, is when this creature will gain whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. So if you're able to work around with that there, and you're able to somehow swing in and hit them there, that's going to be an instant loss for them. Now, because of how this works, I believe that you only get to attack with this on the second turn there, because this does not have haste. So you only really get to attack with this once. However, if you are playing something like Tom Bombadil and you're able to take away counters, then you get that second one on there and you're able to keep this around. That'd be nice, huh? So for the last mode there, upon its exit, Hall of Sorrow, you'll draw 2 cards and each player will lose 2 life there. So getting that alternate version is very nice for us. But it looks like we are going to get our double-faced card, the big villain there for Final Fantasy IX, Kuja, the Genome Sorcerer, with his couple of black mages in the back there. It's going to be 2, a black and a red, for a 3/4 legendary human mutant wizard. Getting a little bit more of that monkey tail action. What are these? Some sort of Super Saiyans? At the beginning of your end step, you will create a tapped 0/1 black wizard creature token with, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this token deals 1 damage to each opponent. Then if you control 4 or more wizards, you'll transform Kuja. So this is one of those where if you're able to play it out with your Ishtola, because this is at the beginning of your end step, you create that wizard, you create 2. Now, it says if you control 4 or more wizards, Kuja himself is a wizard. So you create, 3 wizards there. Or if you have other ones there, you're going to be able to transform him into Trance Kuja, Fate Defied. It's going to be a 4/6 legendary avatar wizard. Oh boy. Going to get a little bit of Flame Star. If a wizard you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, deals double that damage instead. This is still a wizard, so if you swing in and you hit a permanent, they block with a creature, you hit a planeswalker, you hit their face, this is dealing 8 damage. And it almost gives itself double strike. But if you do give this double strike, it's swinging in twice, so that 4, that becomes an 8. You're doing that twice. That's 16 damage that you could potentially be doing. That could definitely hurt. So Kuja is an interesting one there, of potentially going through and KOing people potentially with some commander damage if you wanted to. What is this? So we got 2 cards left there. So this is going to be theoretically our bonus sheet card, and we are going to be getting a little bit of Memories of Nibelheim. So not a foil version. So foil is not guaranteed. This is going to be a little bit of Stroke of Midnight there. So a little bit of Eldraine action. 2 and a white for an instant with destroy target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a 1/1 white human creature token. It's a little bit expensive, but I think that it is pretty good for it there. It'd be nice if it was foil, but knowing that things can be non-foil, I am glad that this is foil there. Oh boy. Okay, thank you, Chocobo. Thank you, Vieira. You have been a great audience there, and we want to see what our final card is. Give us a little bit of that special materia magic. Give us a little bit of that luck. Again, and get a little bit of Hope Estime. Probably one of my least favorite characters from Final Fantasy 13, and I think that a lot of people are like that. However, I think that he is a pretty good magic card, to be fair. White and a blue for a 2/2 legendary human wizard with lifelink. And at the beginning of your end step, each opponent mills X cards, where X is the amount of life you gained this turn. So each opponent, not target opponent. So this is a big mill out card. Now, theoretically, if you wanted to, you could put an Ishtola in there to double up that end step trigger. So they are going to be milling twice the amount of life that you gained. However, there's a lot of ways that you can gain a ton of life really quickly in one turn there. So I wouldn't be surprised if this can just mill people out in a couple of turns there. I think that this is going to be a big kill on sight commander there. I don't think it's going to do much in terms of standard or any of those, but I think in commander it's really going to be effective there. So unfortunately not the greatest of cards there, so we're hoping to continue and get some good luck here. I don't know what the likelihood of getting one of these massive surge foil cards are, but it'd be really nice to get some of those. So we're getting a little bit of hero action. This one looks like it's... I know that there are different ways that the Banga are portrayed there. This could be one of them since it does have that lizard person feel, and we're going to get another one of those wizards on the back here. So it looks like maybe we have a couple of different types of wizard arts there, so that's always nice. So we are going to be flipping those over. We're going to be getting a little bit of Goobu Gardener. Silly, silly, silly. One in a red. No, not one in a red. What am I doing there? I'm the silly one now. One in a green for a 1/3 plant beast that will tap for a little bit of green there. So just a little bit of your rampy ramp there if you want it. You know, it's not an elf, but it is a different style there. So, you know, we'll always take a little bit of that. We're also going to get another town here. Gongaga! You know, I just always liked saying it like that there. You know, from our good little old Final Fantasy VII, but Gongaga, the reactor town, is just going to be a town like we had before. You know, it's going to enter tapped. It's going to tap for a green or red there like our other one. Going in for our next card, we're going to get a little bit of Slash of Light from our Warrior of Light himself. Finishing off, it looks like Chaos there. One in a white for an instant with Slash of Light deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control plus the number of equipments you control to target creature. So finishing off a little bit of one target creature there, it looks like. So unless you got a lot of creatures there or a lot of equipments, probably is not going to be doing a whole lot. Ooh, yeah, getting us a little bit of Moogles. Look how fabulous he is. Given a little bit of 3 in a white for a 3/2 Moogle with flying. Look at those little wings of his there. Of course he's got flying. When this creature enters, search your library and or graveyard for an artifact card with mana value 2 or less, reveal it and put it into your hand. If you search your library this way, shuffle. I wonder what 2 mana or less artifact would be very valuable to get in Commander. I can only imagine. I'm sure there are absolutely none, he said sarcastically. Hey, wait your turn. We're trying to get all of the different cards here. I'm going to get a little bit of Summon Anima, a little bit of Scary Boys now. Summon Anima, 4 and 2 black for a 4/4 enchantment creature saga horror with menace. On the first, second, and third of the lore counters, you're going to cast Pain, which will let you draw a card and you lose life, a little bit of Phyrexian arena action. And on its last turn, you cast Oblivion. Each opponent sacks a creature of their choice and loses 3 life. Now, unfortunately, it's a card of their choice, so they're going to pick their worst thing there. They're still going to lose 3 life, but all in all, I'm going to pass on it there. There's too much choice that they have, not enough payoff in the end there, unfortunately. But we are going to get a little bit of Sorceress's Schemes, a little bit of Ultimecia action. 3 in a red for a sorcery with return target instant or sorcery from your graveyard or exiled card with flashback you own to your hand and add red. Oh my. So you can get an instant or sorcery from your graveyard, or you can bring a card that was flashbacked and exiled, back to your hand, so you can play it an additional 2 times there, once normally and then once again for its flashback. I really dig that. I'm surprised that that hadn't been done quite yet there, but oh, that's actually a really interesting one. I like that. I really, really like that. Plus it's really, really good art. Ultimisha looks really pretty there. She's got the wings. All in all, it's a very beautiful card, and then it's also just has a very unique effect that I think is very good. Very good as in like it's healthy, not that it's gonna be super impactful. It's just I'm like, oh, I could try to use that. Oh, and we're gonna get a little bit of a duo here, Reno and Rude. Reno and Rude is going to be a 1 and a black for a 2/1 legendary human assassin with menace. Whenever this deals combat damage to a player, you exile the top card of that player's library. Then you may sacrifice another creature or artifact. If you do, you may play the exiled card this turn, and mana of any type can be spent to cast it. So it is digging in with a little bit of that I play your deck type of action, though unfortunately you do have to sacrifice your own stuff to be able to play it. But then on top of that there, even though you sacked something, you don't get a discount on anything there. Unfortunately, I think that's going to be a little bit of a swing and a miss, though I do really enjoy the artwork. Come on. Oh, here we go. Getting our first Surge foil here with a little bit of one of the boys in the band, Prompto Argentum. 1 and a red for a 2/2 legendary human scout with haste. That's going to have a little bit of Celsius shot. Cha-ching, cha-ching. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if at least 4 mana was spent to cast it, you'll create a treasure token. Overall, not a super fantastic card there, but it is going to be a search foil, so it is going to be one of our special cards there. So I guess we're going to have to add another extra little space here for everything. So let's move these things over just a little bit to give this its own little space right here. Nice, nice. We already got a surge foil. That's good. That's nifty. Let's keep up the action here, getting a little bit of a wastes. Okay, so we're getting a little bit of waste action here. This is going to be from the most recent one there, which I have not yet played there, but it looks very edgy. I'm not going to lie. It looks super edgy. So that's the vibe that I'm going to go with there. I'm going to be like, ooh, brooding and edgy. Vincent Valentine all over the place. Alrighty, first one up is going to be the Fire Crystal. 2 and 2 red for a legendary artifact. With red spells you cast, cost 1 less to cast. So, you know, you're getting a little bit of that, because I wanting to say Fire Diamond, but it's not. What are they called there? I can't remember what they are, but they reduced the cost of your colored spells there. So it's going to combine a little bit of that, but it's also going to give all of your creatures haste. And for 4 and 2 red, you can tap this to create a token that's a copy of target creature you control. You sack it at the beginning of the next end step. So, you know, a little bit of duplication effect there. Unfortunately, cannot do it with legendary spells there, but having red spells cost 1 less and giving things haste, not too shabby, not too shabby. Up next, we are going to grab probably from the commander deck there. Ooh, getting a little bit of more Kefka action. We'll certainly take more Kefka. Kefka, Dancing Mad. 5, a black, and a red for a 6/6 legendary human wizard with, during your turn, Kefka has Indestructible. At the beginning of your end step, exile a card at random from each opponent's graveyard. You may cast any number of spells from among cards exiled this way without paying their mana cost. Then each player who owns a spell you cast this way loses life equal to its mana cost. That's why it's so much mana to play. This is a very, very hard card. You know, it costs a lot to get out there. Don't get me wrong there. It takes a lot to get out there. But it's indestructible on your turn. And at the beginning of your end step, you get a random card from each opponent, which you can play for no mana, and then they lose life equal to its CMC. Yeah, that's gonna hurt. I definitely like it. I like the randomness of it there. I think it's just a fun card there. It might not be super amazing, but I think it's good enough that I want to play it or build around it. Up next, we're going to get a little bit of Cypher. I'm trying to Almacy. Cypher Almacy. One of Squall's buddies there. One of Squall's buddies. 3 and a red for a legendary human knight. 3/4 with whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gains double strike until end of turn. Oh, I wonder if there was a card that we said would be really good if it got double strike there. That is also in red. And this will also have Firecross. Whenever Cypher Almacy deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If it would be put into your graveyard, you exile it instead. So, you get a little free something for 3 mana. That's 3 mana or less, not too shabby. I mean, I definitely could see that, playing around that one there. Nifty little card, but what we are also going to be getting is, we're going to get a little bit of the alternate art for our commander there, Tidus, Yuna's Guardian. Green, a white, and a blue for our 3/3 legendary human warrior with, at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may move a counter from target creature you control onto a second target creature you control. This also has cheer. Whenever one or more creatures you control with counters on them deal combat damage to a player, you may draw a card and proliferate this. Do this only once each turn, but proliferating is super good there. So overall, pretty good one to be able to get from there. We've got 2 cards remaining. This one is going to be our bonus sheet card, and we're going to be getting, hopefully by the bend of this, it's going to be foil. It's going to be Princess Sarah, who is going to be an Azusa Lost But Seeking. That's very good. Definitely can use that. I know that's something that's used there, and my goodness, all of these arts are so good. This is going to be 2 and a green for a legendary human monk with, you may play 2 additional lands on each of your turns, getting some of that landfall trigger, getting some of that, ramping action there. Very pretty card. We'll be putting that one into one of these as well, though Yuffie is going to remain on top because of who she is. Thank you, Wizard. Thank you, Hero. You have done your duty. And we are going to have our big card at the end here, which is going to be Midgar, City of Mako. So unfortunately, have not hit a big hit since that Ishtola there. Midgar, City of Mako is going to be a land that is also going to have an adventure ability. So the land is also going to be a town. It enters the battlefield tapped and can tap for black mana. But prior to that, you can activate its sorcery adventure side there of 2 and a black, which is you may sacrifice an artifact or creature, and if you do, you draw 2 cards, which isn't too bad as a way of casting something before you essentially play an extra land on the turn there. Not too shabby there, but we are looking for a little bit more luck than that there. So I am hoping that in here we can get a little bit more luck there. We haven't been hitting anything super amazing other than our Yuffie and our Ishtola, but we wanna get the really cool stuff there. So if you wouldn't mind, we are going to be looking for something there. Hopefully a little bit of magic comes in. I didn't ask for the magic of Materia or luck. That's why it wasn't good. Going to get a little bit of Shinra reinforcements there from Final Fantasy VII. 2 and a black for a 2/3 human soldier with, when this ETBs, you'll mill 3 cards and gain 3 life. Pretty simple there. Nothing super out of the ordinary with that. We're also going to get a Sabotender. Going to get one of our Cactuars there. Looking forward to getting some of those. 1 and a red for a 2/1 plant with reach and landfall. Whenever a land you control ETBs, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent there. So getting some of that ramping there and putting some extra lands out, you can deal quite a bit of extra damage there. Thank you. Up next, we're going to be getting a little bit of Windurst Federation Center. Another town there, this one the green and white one, that will be able to add to our collection that we have building up of those. Come on. And we're also going to be getting a little bit of Snow Villiers from Final Fantasy XIII, one of our other protagonists of the game. 2 and a white for a star 3 legendary human rebel monk with vigilance, and Snow's power is equal to the number of creatures you control. So the bigger his resistance force, the more damage that he can do. And look at him punching out that Lassie. Well, I guess that's more of a Seath than it is a Lassie. But, getting a little bit of Snow. So we've gotten Snow, and we've gotten Hope there. We've got 4 more. Is it 4 or is it 5 more there? Because we've got Vanille, we've got Fang, we've got Saz, and we've got Lightning. I don't think that there's another one. I thought that there was 6 people as the protagonist there, but I do want to get Lightning. Like, Lightning is one of the cards that I would really like to get. Okay. Up next, we're going to get, our Prompto Argentum, taking the little selfies there, but, this is going to be the normal one there. We've got the, not only is it a surge foiling there, but it's going to be the artwork with the number in the back there. But, getting the multiple artworks is always nice there, so getting a little bit of that normal one there. And we're also going to be getting a little bit of Rufus Shinra, the guy himself there, president of the Shinra Corporation. 1 a white and a black for a 2/4 legendary human noble. Again, he's white and black with toughness larger than its power. Let's see if he brings anything to the table. Whenever Rufus Shinra attacks, if you don't control a creature named Darkstar, create Darkstar a legendary 2/2 white and black dog creature token. Okay, so, that's an extra creature token that you could send into die and do some extra damage, get some triggers there. It's also possible there to sack it, and then whenever he attacks, you get a new one there. So it looks like we are going to be getting one of my other Final Fantasy 13 characters there. I recognize that card. Up next, we're going to get, the numbered version for Zidane this time. A lot more anime style in this one here than in the other ones, which I guess is the same with this Tidus that I didn't really look at before. He's got the little 10 in the background there, kind of like the Prompto and some of the other ones that we've seen. So getting some more of these artworks there is always going to be nice for us. But as we see it there, we're going to be getting onto it there. I'm pretty sure that this is going to be Vanille. Oh, no, this is going to be Fang. Okay, so Fang is the bottom one there. Fang, Fearless Lassie, with her numbered card there. So this is going to be the alternate art for them. 2 and a black for a legendary human warrior with whenever 1 or more cards leave your graveyard, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. This ability triggers only once each turn. But this is another one of those, if a card leaves the graveyard, again, where have we seen that before with other stuff? And this will meld with Vanille, Cheerful Lassie, so a little bit of meld effect there, which is going to create up this, I think it's Ragnarok there, which is pretty insane. Yep, it's going to be Ragnarok. This is going to be a legendary creature, beast, avatar, 7/6 with vigilance, menace, trample, reach, and haste. Look at all those keywords. And when this dies, you'll destroy target permanent and return target non-legendary permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield there. So you get to bring back a little something there for yourself. Very, very nice. I'll look forward to getting a Vanille with this alternate art to go along with it there, because I think it's only fair. Maybe we'll get in one of these other packs. And we're also going to get another swamp here. A lot of swamps that we've been getting, huh? This one is going to be specifically from Final Fantasy 14, and it looks like we've got a big dragon there. Maybe some sort of Draco Lich or something. Kind of spooky with that moon there. Alrighty. Going into our first rare card here, we're going to be getting a little bit of Summoner's Grimoire. 3 and a green for an artifact equipment with job select. So we're going to be getting that 1/1 colorless hero token that this is going to be equipped to. And equipped a creature as a shaman in addition to its other types, and has whenever this creature attacks, you may put a creature from your hand onto the battlefield. If that card is an enchantment card, it enters tapped and attacking. Abraxas equipped 3. This is really, really good with all of these these summons there. Like, yeah, this is definitely Summon's Grimoire, but, it doesn't up its power or anything there, but just being able to put something from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking, and it doesn't leave afterwards there. It will get its first counter as well when you enter, so you get that there. This is, oh my goodness. I think that this is really good. And we've got Carbuncle to aid us in battle. This, I think, is going to be a really good equipment specifically for any of those there. And I mean, we can do the summon saga creatures there, but there are a bunch of other enchantment creatures that we could have that this goes for. So all in all, I think that this is a good equipment. Obviously, it can be removed and whatnot there, and it's very situational, but I think if you build around that concept there, that this could be really good. Especially if you're playing an Enchantress deck that already probably has enchantment creatures, being able to play something for free isn't that bad. And we're also going to get from our commander decks there a little bit of Orin, the Venerated Guardian, who showed up in Kingdom Hearts 2 as well as kind of a really awesome companion there alongside the Donald and the Goofies. There's going to be 3 and a white for a 2/5 legendary human spirit samurai with vigilance, and it'll have an ability of Shooting Star. Whenever this attacks, you'll put a 1/1 counter on it, and when you do, you exile target creature defending player controls with power less than Orin's power until Orin leaves the battlefield. So a little bit of that Oblivion Ring effect there as well. And I mean, if you do this in Toughness Matters there, I mean, you're gonna be able to deal some damage there because you attack in with it. It already has vigilance. It's gonna be dealing 6 damage with that toughness because of the +1/+1 counter, and you get to exile creature with power 3 or less at that point there. That's another one that I could definitely see being played around with. Oh, it looks like we're going to get another double-faced summon there. So, but before we do, we're going to be getting a triple triad. Another artwork here with a little bit of squall action. 3 and 3 red for an enchantment with at the beginning of your upkeep, each player exiles top card of their library. Until end of turn, you may play the card you own exiled this way, and each other card exiled this way with lesser mana value than it without paying their mana cost. Ooh, this is another one where if you have a deck with some decently high CMCs there, you could potentially be playing 2-3 cards for free from your opponents, even if they have higher mana cost. I mean, I think that you definitely have to try to build around this, and it's not going to be something you can play in standard or something, but I mean, all in all, it's a very interesting card to being able to play a bunch of stuff there. And as we saw for our double face card, we're going to get a little bit of Joshua Phoenix's Dominant from the good old Final Fantasy 16 that I haven't played yet. 1, a red and a white for a 3/4 legendary human noble wizard with, when this ETBs, discard up to 2 cards and you draw that many cards. So, there are things in your hand you don't need, get rid of them, you can draw the cards there. But that's about all that he does there, because after that you have to pay 3, a red and a white to tap and exile Joshua to then return it to the battlefield, transformed under its owner's control as through a sorcery speed. And we're going to get a little bit of Phoenix, the Warden of Fire, a 4/4 flying lifelink legendary enchantment saga Phoenix. On the turn it comes out, and the second turn there, it'll deal 2 damage to each opponent. And on the third and final turn, it'll do Flames of Rebirth. Return any number of target creature cards with total mana value 6 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, and then you exile Phoenix and return it face up. So, I mean, all in all, the problem is that when Joshua ETBs, he's not terrible. The 3/4 for 3 mana is not the worst stat line there, but all he does is just going to be potentially drawing you up to 2 extra cards there, depending on what you get rid of, and you invest 5 mana for after 3 turns. He's going to get 6 mana worth of stuff from your graveyard back to the battlefield. I'm not sure if that feels like a great rate. I mean, sure, it's got all of the other abilities there, but I'm not sure if that is really going to do it for me there. Alrighty, so second to last one, we're going to be getting one of our bonus sheet cards, and we're going to be getting a little bit of Squall Leonhart there. It's going to be a copy of Danitha Capuchin Paragon, 2 and a white for a legendary creature, Human Knight 2/2 with first strike, vigilance, and lifelink, and aura and equipment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. With that nice artwork there from the game. And oh, we got a little bit of treasure and hero action there. We didn't actually see those there, so we're getting a little bit of cat person on this one here, it looks like. All right, Materia, luck, magic, let me be with you. Oh, yes, that is what I am talking about. That is what I am looking for. Not only is it a good card, it is a foil, it is an alternate art, it is the character that I was hoping to be able to get. Lightning, the Army of One. 1, a red and a white for a 3/2 legendary human soldier with first strike, trample, and lifelink. Oh yeah. Look at all those keywords on it there. And it also has stagger. Whenever lightning deals combat damage to a player until your next turn, if a source would deal damage to that player or a permanent that player controls, it deals double that damage instead. So after this deals the combat damage, if you've got any other effects that deal damage, it's going to be doing twice that amount there. Now, the big thing is that I can't remember if we had seen it before. I mean, we saw this one here. This is going to be very good with her because the one thing lightning does not have is haste. Turn before, if you play out Brynhildr, 2/1 there, exile top card of your library. And then during any turn, you put a lore counter on this, you can play that card. Turn after that, you could play Lightning, and it will have haste because of its secondary skill. If you're somehow if you're able to give Lightning double strike there, stagger happens twice. This is not a once per turn skill. She has trample as well, so even if you deal that 1 damage there, the second time that she deals damage, and she has trample, so if you kill the creature, you get to deal the double strike damage extra over on top of that there. It will deal double that damage, and anytime you do that. So that means if you hit someone with a double strike lightning, you deal 4 times extra damage until your next turn to them there. That is awesome. I could also see lightning being, and because it's to that player or a permanent that player controls, I could also see lightning potentially being at the head of my take extra combat phases, because extra combat phases commander deck, or just another version that's red-white, because I have other versions of those cards that I could use for it there, because it's along those lines of you get lightning to hit in there once. The next time you have that combat there, you're doing double damage to all permanents and the player and the player there that you hit with her. And then if you take another one, you're dealing 4 times. You do it another time, you're dealing 8 times the damage. It is I want to make this deck. Oh, we got something good. Yes! Oh, I'm so pumped. That was, I mean, it's not the most expensive card, obviously, but it was the card that I was really, really hoping to be able to get. Now let's shoot for some big cards there. So we're going to get a little bit of gorgeous black mage action, it looks like there. First off, so we're also looking for a Vanille as well to complete things out. We're going to get a little Adventurers in Town. When this ETBs, you gain 2 life. And tap it to give colorless. This one does not enter tapped there. So, it's going to be very basic because it only gives colorless there. But, it's something to go in for the collection. We're also going to get a little bit of Cornered by Black Mages. Oh boy. 1 and 2 black for a sorcery with target opponent sacrifices a creature of their choice. So, you're making them sacrifice a creature at the very least. And you create a 0/1 black wizard creature token with whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this token deals 1 damage to each opponent. Nice, nice, nice. I actually lied. There is one other card that I want as much as lightning that it would be amazing to be able to get in this, and that's Vivi. I don't know if I'll be able to get him there, but if I could, that would be my next #1 pick. We're also going to get a little bit of World Map, 1 mana artifact for 1 and tap to sacrifice this artifact to search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. Or you can pay 3 and tap to sacrifice this artifact to search your library for any land card, reveal it, and put it in your hand, and then shuffle. So, a little tutor there for your lands if you really want to, getting something important. We're also going to get a little bit of fire magic to go along with our ice magic. This time, as you can probably imagine, it's going to be a red mana. Red mana for an instant tiered effect there for 0 extra. This will deal 1 damage to each creature. Not one creature, each creature. So it's already dealing quite a bit there. For 1 and 2 extra colorless, it'll deal 2 damage to each creature. So, getting a little bit more there. And for Fyraga, which is going to be an extra 5 investment there, which is probably going to be a little bit too much there. I'd probably either be looking for Fire or Fyra unless you really, really have a lot of extra mana there. Fyraga is going to be 5 extra to deal 3 damage to each creature there. So, being able to deal 1 damage to each creature or 2 damage to each creature could be very, very good there. I really enjoy that just because it is such a cheap spell there as well. And as you can see, we got another double face. But before we do, we're going to be going into a Sandworm. What is this, some kind of Dune set? What are Sandworms doing in here, huh? It's going to be a 4 and a red for a 5/4 worm with haste. And when this creature ETBs, you destroy target land. Its controller may search their library for a basic land card and put it on the battlefield tapped and then shuffle. Good old land destruction there, it looks like, making them get just a basic there. So that's fine, that's fine. Looks like we're also going to be getting a little bit of, a side quest. Okay, this is interesting. Side quest. This is going to be from Final Fantasy XII, so it is from Ivalice. So it does have a little bit of that Tactics Advanced style there for me. Side quest, Hunt the Mark. 3 and 2 black for an enchantment with when this enchantment ETBs, you destroy up to 1 target creature. Okay, so targeted creature destruction. Targeted destruction at the beginning of your end step. Duplicate end steps, we got some of those. If a creature died under an opponent's control this turn, create a treasure token. Then if you control 3 or more treasures, you transform this enchantment. So you're already getting a treasure out of it there, and you're going to be probably wanting to hold off on spending those treasures until you can actually flip it there. And it's going to turn into Yizmot, the Ultimate Mark, a legendary dragon 5/6. Has wings, but does not have flying. Interesting. 1 in a black. Sacrifice another creature or artifact, and this will gain indestructible until end of turn, and you tap it. So, save it a little bit there. So I can see why, it's just an uncommon. Neither one is super amazing there. I'm wondering because I don't know. I'm imagining that you only get 1 treasure there. It would be great if you could get treasure for each creature that died under an opponent's control, but I think even if it's the way that the wording is, it's pretty much like a 1 or more effect there. Looks like we're also going to get a little bit of Clash of the Icons. 1 green for a sorcery with choose 1 or more. That's always a good sign, and this is good for the Riku of the Many Paths there. First mode, target creature you control fights target creature and opponent controls, okay? You can remove a lore counter from target saga you control, also very good. and you can put a lore counter on a target saga you control. So if you want something to get through a little bit faster, maybe one of your transformed guys there, you want to get their final effect a little bit faster, you can get that through. Or if you want to take something off so that one of the other effects get, one of the previous ones get put on there. And you can use this for other things like if you might want to get an extra construct for Urza's Saga, this is a potential way of being able to do that. Honestly, very interesting card. I think that it's very good for just a single green mana. When I do make a Saga or Tom Bombadil deck, definitely going in. We're also going to be getting a little bit of Ambrosia Whiteheart. Oh, another one of our Chocobo. 1 and a white for a 2/2 legendary bird with flash. And when Ambrosia Whiteheart enters, you may return another permanent you control to its owner's hand. Get a little bit of that ETB trigger reaction. And landfall, whenever a land you control ETBs, this will get +1/+0 until end of turn, much like some of our other Chocobos there. So getting that alternate artwork for it is very nice. And we should be getting our land here. Yep, we're going to get a mountain. Looks like a big shrine that is going to be at the end there. Very, very, very pretty. Absolutely will take every single one of those that we can get. By those, I just mean the lands. Okay, next up, we are going to be grabbing a little bit of Kane, the Traitorous Dragoon. Another one of our characters there that ended up as a playable character in Duodecim there. 2 and a black for a 2/4 legendary human knight with jump. During your turn, Kane has flying. He got them hops, boy. Whenever Kane deals combat damage to a player, that player gains control of Kane. If they do, you draw that many cards, create that many tapped treasure tokens, then lose that much life. So, it goes to other people, but there are ways to get benefits based off of people gaining control of your stuff or for having your stuff there. Maybe you can incentivize other people from using it. Like you could goad it there. You could put impetuses out there. Make them want to attack other people per se. So an interesting card there. I'm not sure how much it's going to be used just because of giving control of it to other people there. But up next, we're going to have a little bit of Espers to Magicite. So another one of our Kefka cards. We're definitely getting a lot of Final Fantasy VI Commander cards there. 3 and a black for an instant with exile each opponent's graveyard. And when you do, you choose up to 1 target creature card exiled this way. You create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's an artifact and it loses all other card types there. I really, really like this card there. Especially with, I know that there was the Commander Masters precon that had the white, black, green Enchantress deck there that this could go into there. It hoses graveyard strategies by exiling all of them, and you get to take a creature with a really good triggered or activated ability and essentially make it an artifact on your field. Honestly, I think that that's a really, really good card there. I'm glad to get an extra copy of that one there. Oh, it looks like we're going to get a dual face card there. Don't look at it there. We're going to get a little bit of Hreisfilger of the First Brood. Another one of our commander cards there. This one looks like it's from Final Fantasy XIV there. 4 and a blue for a 5/5 legendary Elder Dragon with Flying, Vigilance, and Ward 2. A little hard to get rid of there. It's a dragon, so that's always good. Shiva's Aid, when Hreisfilger enters, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, target creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn and can't be blocked this turn. Very interesting. I could see this also going very well in Yuriko because ninjas don't want to be blocked there. So casting non-creature spells or when this enters, okay. Just an interesting little one there. And it looks like we are also going to be getting up here a little bit of, oh, looks like an alternate artwork there of Balam Garden Seed Academy there from Final Fantasy VIII. Another town there that will enter tapped. This one, however, being a rare, has some extra abilities. You can tap this to add green or blue. You can also pay 5, a green and a blue, and tap this to transform this land. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each other town. You can draw a little bit of that town tribal that we were talking about. So maybe put it down there and you're only paying maybe a green and a blue. You have to have 5 other towns, though. And this will transform into Balam Garden Airborne, a 5/4 legendary artifact vehicle that has a crew cost of 1. You like to see that. Crew cost 1 for a 5/4. Has flying, and whenever it attacks, you draw a card. Not too shabby, not too shabby. If you don't need the extra, 1 land there, you're able to transform it. As you can see, it doesn't say you can only activate this as a sorcery ability. So if you want to leave your mana up, you can react to your opponent's stuff, and if they don't do the bad thing that you thought they were, you can transform this and have it being able to attack in on the next turns there. We'll certainly take that. Last 2 cards here. We're going to get up one of our bonus sheets, and we're going to be getting a little bit of Lucas Stadium, which is going to be Strixhaven Stadium. Unfortunately, I don't think that this is all that amazing there. It's going to be 3 mana for an artifact with tap it to add a colorless and put a point counter on this artifact. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to you, you'll remove a point counter from this. And whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to an opponent, you'll put a point counter on this artifact. Then if it has 10 or more point counters on it, remove them all, and that player loses the game. So it's an alternate win effect there, kind of. But, you have to, whenever you tap this, you get the point counters. I mean, I guess it's also good with Tidus with proliferating to be able to get more of them up there. But overall, I don't think it's going to be the most amazing one there. Oh, look at that baby chocobo. Ooh, look at them there. Oh. So we're getting the Dark Mage and then the cute little chocobo. Hopefully they'll bring us a little bit of luck. May the materia, magic, and luck be on our side with this one here. And we're getting an alternate for the Kane Trader's Dragoon. So unfortunately, like I said, I'm not too keen on this one here. I guess, his name is Kane, but I'm not keen on him. But, we'll take the alternate artworks for them there. So we are officially halfway through on this bad boy here. So let's keep on going in. Hopefully we can get a little bit more pack magic going on here. Get another Surge foil. Maybe get some of the big expensive cards. Who knows what we could grab. Getting another one of my favorite pink-haired heroes here, as well as on the backside a little bit of food. Okay. Let's see what we got in here. First off, we're going to get a little bit of combat tutorial. A little bit of Tidus just starting everything off here. 2 and a blue for a sorcery with target player draws 2 cards, and you put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature you control. Honestly, that's not too shabby. This is some pretty big power creep, actually. It's not an instant, but Divination is 4 mana for draw 2 cards. This is only 3 mana for draw 2 cards, and you get to put a +1/+1 counter on a target creature you control. I mean, you need to have both a creature. You have to have a creature to be able to use this there, but it's like that's actually some serious power creep on that type of spell there. Up next, we're going to have a little bit of Blitzball, going a little bit with our combat training there, so getting more Final Fantasy X action. You hear that, Tidus? We got a little bit of Blitzball. 3 mana for an artifact with tap to add 1 mana of any color. So, good old classic, any sort of mana rock there that you're putting into a deck. And you're also going to get go. A tap to sacrifice this artifact to draw 2 cards. Activate only if an opponent was dealt combat damage by a legendary creature this turn. Interesting card there. Next up, we're going to have a little bit of Paladin Arms. This is going to be a 2 and a white for an artifact artifact equipment there. Job select is going to create that 1/1 colorless hero token. Equipped creature is going to get a +2/+1 and have ward 1. And is going to be a knight in addition to its other types. It's going to have an equip cost of 4, though. So, again, a lot of these equipments there are probably not going to see much play just because they've got a high equipment cost, and probably keeping them on the hero is not going to be exactly what you want to do. We're also going to get a little bit of Shambling Seath there. I do know how to say this because I played the game. We're going to get a 2 and a black for a 3/3 Mutant Horror that enters tapped. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may pay black if you do return this card from your graveyard to your hand. Getting a little bit of recursion with that there. I think that's pretty good. And next up, we're going to be going in and getting a little bit of one of the boys with us, Gladiola's Amicitia, or Amicitia, which is going to be 4, a red and a green for a 6/6 legendary human warrior with when this ETBs. You search the library for a land, put it on the battlefield, tapped, and shuffle. And when a landfall, whenever a land you control ETBs, another target creature you control gets +2/+2 and gains trample until end of turn there. So you're given one thing there when you get this out there, +2/+2 and trample to kind of go along with it. Don't mind that card there because we're actually going to get a Sid. We're going to get Sid from Final Fantasy III. So, this is one of our Sids. We want to collect them all 16 Sids. The Timeless Artificer, 2, a white and a blue for a 4/4 legendary human artificer with artifact creatures and heroes you control. Get +1/+1 for each artificer you control and each artificer card in your graveyard. And a deck can have any number of cards named Sid, Timeless Artificer. This will also have cycling, blue and white. Discard this to draw a card. So, a way to power up all of your artifact creatures and heroes there if you're playing in white and blue. And, Esper being white, blue, black, that's certainly a way to do that there. So getting a Sid there is going to be really good. And it looks like we're also going to be getting a non-foil copy of that Crystal Fragments there. That does Salmon up Alexander like we had before there. So we're going to skip on that one there and into our next one, which is going to be a foil Torgal a Fine Hound. It's going to be a 1 and a green for a 2/2 legendary wolf with whenever you cast your first human creature spell each turn, that creature enters with an additional +1/+1 on it for each dog and or wolf you control. A little bit of man's best friend, I guess. And you can tap this to add 1 mana of any color. Interesting. So a little bit of a mana dork in and of itself there. And you can put a +1/+1 counter on humans that come in, which I guess is just a nifty little extra effect there. And I think we're going to be getting our land here. Oh, our first plains, which is going to be 7th Heaven, straight from Final Fantasy VII there. A little bit of Tifa's Bar there, so that's always a nifty one to get. I really have no idea what any of these lands are, so everything is new and amazing. Oh, double up on Ishtola. We're getting 2 copies of her, getting her alt art, and we're getting her regular artwork there in foil. We'll absolutely take that one there. Gonna sleeve that one up as well. Now I think we just need her version that probably is I don't know if it's going to be this one or this one that's going to have the numbers on it, but I think it's probably going to be that one there. But getting 2 Ishtolas is going to be really good there. Like I said, all we need is just the Vivi as well. That would be fantastic. Also going to be getting up a Lifestream's Blessing, a 4 and 2 green for an instant with draw X cards, where X is the greatest power among creatures you controlled as you cast this card. If this spell was cast from exile, you gain twice X life. And it's got that foretell on it there, which I believe is you pay 2 mana, I think, to play this face down, and then you play it, and then you cast this for a mana less. So yes, you put in 1 extra mana, but 2 is on a different turn. And it's when you cast this, you get those cards. So it's not when it resolves. So if you already have a big powerful thing out there and they try to get rid of it, well, you're still going to get all that stuff anyway. So I think that's another good one there, especially if you're trying to gain up a bunch of life as well. That's a way to do it. It's too bad that it's green, or you could easily put it in with Hope there. And gaining all that life is making people mill a lot of cards, We're also going to be getting a little bit of Golbez, the Crystal Collector, our brother and nemesis from Final Fantasy IV. Blue and a black for a 1/4 legendary human wizard with whenever an artifact you control ETBs, you surveil one. Okay, we'll certainly take that. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 4 or more artifacts, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Just free creatures coming back. And then if you control 8 or more artifacts, each opponent loses life equal to that card's power. Okay, that's a nifty one there. I could definitely be seeing playing around that with an artifact deck there. Up next, we're going to get... Oh, walking around the Christmas tree. Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. It happened. The might, the materia, the magic, the luck, it all came together with the one, the only, the Vivi Ornithir. Card people are very scared of coming into CEDH there, and I can see why. 1, a blue and a red for a 0/3 legendary creature wizard with 0 mana. For 0 mana, you add X mana in any combination of blue and or red where X is Vivi's power. Activate only during your turn and only once each turn there. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you put a +1/+1 counter on Vivi and it deals 1 damage to each opponent. It's so good. Oh, yes. We got my favorite Final Fantasy VII character. We've got my favorite Final Fantasy 13 character. We got double Ishtola, and we got a Vivi. I mean, like, honestly, I think that we need to just put, like, the cards out just to be like, look at all of this. Like, maybe something even like this there, you know, having up our double Ishtolas. Like, there's, like, sure, we could get cards like the golden chocobo, you know, the chocobos there. We could get Sephiroth, you know, Cloud, whatnot there, Buster Sword, you know, there's some good ones that we could get out there, but it's just like, we got some of the ones that I really, really wanted there. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. The only thing that would have been better is if it was in foil, but I will certainly take this Vivi. Oh, yes. Let's keep this train moving. Getting a little bit of Endwalker, which is going to be Brainstorm. Okay, I like my Brainstorms as well. I'll certainly take this there. 1 blue for an instant, draw 3 cards. Put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. Absolutely will take that one there for our... certainly take that one there for it. Now, I know this is not going to happen there, but the very first collector booster that I pulled for the when Baldur's Gate came out, I had 1 booster pack of it. And it had 2 copies of, was it Ancient Bronze Dragon? One was foil, one was not. It is possible to get a foil Vivi in this as well. I do not think that that is what's going to happen here. I know it's not a Sephiroth, because Sephiroth is double-sided. But there's a few things that this could be that could be really amazing, so... And we're just going to get Water Crystal. So, unfortunately, I hyped this up for nothing. I'm sorry. But it is going to be an alternate artwork there, so we'll take it. But, you know, we're going to be wanting some cooler stuff than this. 2 and 2 blue for a legendary artifact. Blue spells cost 1 less to cast. If an opponent would mill 1 or more cards, they mill that many cards plus 4 instead. Hello, Hope. You want to have this card in there? This is insane, actually. This is insane for mill decks. 4 and 2 blue, tap this. Each opponent mills cards equal to the number of cards in your hand. and they mill 1, and they mill 4 plus whatever that is. My goodness. So unfortunately, it's not going to be 1 plus, it's not going to be for each life plus 4. So it wouldn't be like, oh, you lost 4 life, so it's like 1 and then and 1 plus 5, so it wouldn't be like 5 for each life, but it's still like 4 extra for each one there, and to have multiple effects to do that. Even if you're just like, oh, I'll mill people each one card, and it's like, oh, well, but that's actually 5 cards there. So actually, it's not too bad, though. I mean, there's other things that we certainly are caring to find there, but so far so good. Alrighty. Hopefully. Magic, might, materia, luck, please be on our side here. We've got a few more packs left. And I've already pulled my 2 biggest hits that I wanted to do. So I'm absolutely thrilled. I'm through the moon on this. Gonna get a little bit of Aerith Rescue Mission. 3 and a white for a sorcery. Choose 1, take the elevator. You create 3 1/1 colorless hero creature tokens, or take 59 flights of stairs. Tap up to 3 target creatures. You put a stun counter on one of them there. Okay. Either get more stuff or tap stuff down. It's pretty intensive cost, so yeah. Oh, getting a little bit of Vincent Valentine here, this time with his Limit Breaker. I wonder if this is in at all reference to his Dirge of Cerberus shooting game there. 1 and a black for an instant with tiered. Until end of turn, target creature you control gains when this creature dies. Return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. And it has the chosen base power and toughness. Galleon Beast for 0 extra. It becomes a 3/2. Death Gygus for 1 extra mana. So for 3 mana total, it becomes a 5/2. And for Hellmasker for an extra 3 mana, so 5 total, it becomes a 7/2 there. Depending on how you want to do that there, you could get it out. It honestly would be really good with Lightning because she does have First Strike there, but unfortunately Black does not necessarily go into that there, and it's too bad. We're also going to get a Mysidian Elder, 2 and a red for a 1/3 human wizard with when this creature enters, you create a 0/1 black wizard creature token with whenever you cast a non-creature spell. This token deals 1 damage to each opponent. I mean, if you're flickering this and you can get a lot of them out there, be nice there. Only 3 mana. Also going to be getting a little bit of Samurai's Katana there. 2 and a red for an artifact equipment. Job select, you create your colorless hero. An equipped creature gets +2/+2, has trample and hasten, is a samurai in addition to its other types. Equipped cost of 5. Again, pretty expensive, though. Getting a 3/3 out there with trample and haste isn't the worst thing, but I mean, there's other things you could do. If there are ways to equip for free there, that's certainly different. We're also going to get the Ambrosia Whiteheart again, just in its regular art style there. So we're getting multiple versions of it there. So, we'll certainly take the extras there, especially if they're different artworks. We're also going to be getting a little bit of Diamond Weapon. Ooh, big endgame super boss there. 7 and 2 green for a 8/8 legendary artifact elemental. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each permanent card in your graveyard, so you can cast this probably for pretty cheap there. Also has reach and immune, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to Diamond Weapon there. So, you get a big beater that doesn't take any combat damage. It's not the worst thing ever there. We'll certainly take that. And I think that this is our extra. Yep, this is the extended art card, Rydia. Summoner of Mist, red and a green for a 1/2 legendary human shaman with a landfall. Whenever a land you control ETBs, you may discard a card. If you do, draw. Okay, a little bit of cycling there for the red. And summon, pay X and then tap. Return target saga card with mana value X from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. It gains haste until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Okay, so when it goes away, it's gone away forever, but you get all of the triggers, and if it's a saga creature, then you get to attack with it instantly. Not too bad. You do essentially have to pay its mana cost again, which isn't the best thing ever. We're also going to get, foil copy of Zidane Tantalus Thief there. We got the other version there, I think, foil there, but I don't think we got this one foil there. I think we got his numbered version, but I don't know if we got that foil version of it there. So we'll certainly take that there, especially since, I mean, there's only so many of those that we can possibly get. And we're also going to be getting a little bit of mountains there, a big fire fortress there, trying to get through all of that nonsense. And for our first rare, we're going to be pulling out a little bit of Hope again there, just with his regular art style. So we're getting a couple of versions there. And as we can actually see, he has a little bit, it's showing his summon in the background there, his Eidolon, the Alexander, as we had seen before, just a different version of him there. So getting different versions is nice just to complete out the collection of the cards there. Next up, what we're going to be grabbing is a little bit of Moogle's Valor. Yay! We definitely want some Moogles there. This one is going to be in our, not the commander decks there. But hey, we love our Moogles here in this household. So we're going to get 3 and 2 white for an instant with, for each creature you control, you create a 1/2 white Moogle creature token with lifelink. Then creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. Okay, so it's an expensive version there of being able to give indestructible, but you essentially double up your board by getting some extra guys there. So I will certainly take it, especially since it's Moogle cards. Always love my Moogles there, ever since Mont Blanc there. Really, Moogles are the best. Next up, we're going to be getting more lightning. Yes, yes, yes. Now, I think that this lightning, I'm not sure where this is from. If this is from like another deck there, because I know that there is a white-red kind of like dual deck that has Cloud as the commander. I'm thinking that this is probably from there, because it would not make sense to have 2 lightnings in the same like normal package. So, I mean, getting more lightning, I'll certainly do that because, again, favorite FF13 character. Lightning, Security Sergeant, 2 and a red for a 2/3 legendary human soldier with Menace. And when she deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card for as long as you control Lightning. Okay. And she's reversing up the stats, 2/3 instead of a 3/2 there. So just another version of her there. We'll certainly take that for the collection. We're also going to be grabbing a little bit of that amazing artwork for Buster's sword there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that is amazing. Look at those colors with it there. My goodness. Buster Sword. 3 mana for an artifact equipment with equipped creature gets +3/+2. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card. Then you may cast a spell from your hand with mana value less than or equal to that damage without paying its mana cost, equip cost of 2. I wonder, there seems to be another amazing card that this would go well with there that, does trample so it gets through, first strike so it actually kills. This is another amazing card there. I was hoping to get that one there purely for the artwork. So it looks like we're keeping on the train of just amazing cards there. Maybe we'll get another amazing card here for our bonus sheet. Oh, someone is a comedian with all of these packs. Someone is a big, big comedian. 2 Yufis, 2 Yurikos. Oh, that's funny. Got our 2 Ishtolas, got our 2 Yufis. I wouldn't mind a second Vivi either. That would be kind of nice there. Treasure, Hero, had those ones there before. By Magic, by Materia, by the Strength Within, by the Luck itself. Oh, we're getting a little bit of Bob. This is Bob. Yeah, this is the new artwork there for Bob. I mean, extended artwork, foil. I don't think that this is the normal artwork for him there. So, I mean, you're looking good, Bob, I'll tell you that. 1 and a black for a 2/1 human wizard with, at the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library and put it into your hand. You lose life equal to its mana value there. Overall, still a pretty good card. I mean, it might not be the most amazing one there, but we will certainly take that one there. Add into the collection of super cool cards to have gotten there. All right, here we are. Magic Materia, Strength Within. Give us the luck that we want. We want to find something super cool, find something super amazing in these as well. Getting our little hero guy there as well. And we're getting a horror on the back there. And that's kind of horrific. First up there, we're going to get a little bit of Summon GF Ifrit. GF Ifrit! 3/2. With for its first and second lore counters, we're able to discard a card to draw a card. And for 3 and 4, we get to add a red mana. You know, a little bit of rampy action there. Not too much going on. A little bit of Town Greeter, 1 and a green for a 1/1 human citizen with, when this ETBs, you'll mill 4 cards, put a land card from among them into your hand, and if you put a land card into your hand, you get to draw a couple of extra cards there. Nothing super amazing with that one there. You know, get to mill some cards, so I guess that's the benefit of it there if you want to be milling your own cards. And we're also going to get a little bit of Grand Pulse Ochu from Final Fantasy XIII. 1 green for a 1/1 plant beast with Death Touch. And you can pay an additional 8 mana into this for until end of turn. This creature gets +1/+1 for each permanent card in your graveyard. So you can try to make them really big. You can swing in with them there with Death Touch, and if they don't want to try to block it, maybe you can pump them up there or something. Now that I'm thinking about it, Tonberry is one that I would like to be able to get in my uncommon slot here if I could. We're also going to get a little bit of Phantom Train. Ooh. 3 and a black for a 4/4 artifact vehicle with Trample. And sacrifice another artifact or creature. You put a +1/+1 counter on this vehicle. It becomes a spirit artifact creature in addition to its other types until end of turn. So no crew cost. You have to sacrifice either a creature or artifact. Okay. Not the greatest thing there, but, you know, we'll take it. Stolen Uniform, 1 blue for an instant with choose target creature you control and target equipment. Gain control of that equipment until end of turn. Attach it to the chosen creature. When you lose control of that equipment this turn, if it's attached to a creature you control, unattach it there. So, in this, you can either take control of someone else's equipment and put it on, or for 1 blue mana, you can attach any equipment you want to any creature. So you can do a little bit of mana cheating to get that on there. All in all, I think that that's a good way to be able to get things on. I mean, if you're able to buff up Vivi with that there, if you put something like Colossus Hammer onto him there with 1 blue mana, and you're just like, oh yeah, you know, afterwards I'm going to get, like, what is it? I can't remember if it gets +8/+8 or +10/+10. Either way, you're making a ton of mana there for, you know, equipping for essentially 1. Don't look at that. But we got it. It's so nice. Garnet, Princess of Alexandria, a green and a white for a 2/2 legendary human noble cleric with a lifelink, and when Garnet attacks, you may remove a lore counter from any number of sagas you control. Put a +1/+1 counter on Garnet for each counter removed this way. Oh my goodness. Another one that's really good for the Enchantress deck that's going to have all of these sagas, because they won't go away. You'll be able to reactivate the best effects that they have there, as long as you keep them at a lower one there. So I think that this is a stellar card to have in there, being able to... And you're also buffing this up with it there as well. So all in all, I think that that one's a great addition. And as you can see here, a little bit of the Ragnarok, we got the other side there. Vanille. Unfortunately, this is the regular artwork, not the special one there, but we'll certainly take it for the moment here. 3 and a green for a 3/2 legendary human cleric with when Vanille ETBs, you'll mill 2 cards and return a permanent from your graveyard to your hand. At the beginning of your first main phase, if you both own and control Vanille and a creature named Fang Fearless Lassie, you may pay 3, a black and a green. If you do, you exile them, then meld them into Ragnarok Divine Deliverance there, that 7/6er that we had. And I think, if I remember correctly, Fang is 3 mana, so Vanille would then be 4, and if you then pay 5 to be able to play Ragnarok on the next turn there, I mean, that's certainly one way to go around it there. I'm hoping to be able to get the special artwork for Vanille so that we can get both of those. We're also going to be getting a little bit of Summon Fat Chocobo. Look at them, the Chocobo and the Boogles. Pleasingly plump summon. 4 and a green for a 4/4 enchantment Saga Bird with Mark. With create a 2/2 green bird creature token with whenever a land you control ETBs, this token gets +1/+0 until end of turn. We saw that one there. And on its second, third, and fourth counters that are put onto it there, creatures you control gain trample until end of turn there. Nice little simple one there. And we're also going to be getting up a forest. This time just out kind of in a swamp there, so getting kind of like a combination of those two. And for our first rare, we're going to get Moogle's Valor again, this time with its regular artwork, so we'll certainly take that. I mean, it'd be nice to get some more mythics in that slot there, like we did with Ishtola there. But, you know, we will take what we can get, and we'll also be getting a little bit of Coin of Fate from the commander sets there. 1 and a white for an artifact with when this ETBs, you surveil 1. 3 and a white, you tap, exile 2 creature cards from your graveyard. You sacrifice this artifact, and an opponent chooses one of the exiled cards. You put that card on the bottom of your library and return the other to the battlefield tapped. You become the monarch there. So they choose the worst of 2 great options there, and you also get to be the monarch. I mean, not too shabby there. I'll certainly think about that one there. Oh, don't look at that one there. What we're actually going to have here is Aerith. Aerith, we actually found you. The last ancient. 2, a green and a white for a 3/5 legendary creature, human cleric druid with lifelink, and she's going to have raise at the beginning of your end step. If you gain life this turn, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. If you gain 7 or more life this turn, return that card to the battlefield instead. Super amazing card to be able to reanimate stuff from the commander decks there. And as you saw, this is going to be the numbered artwork there for Joshua Phoenix's Dominant that we had seen before there with the numbers on both sides there. Phoenix looking super amazing there. Unfortunately, again, like I said, not my favorite card. Okay, so I do see that we have a double-sided card here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to exchange this one underneath so we don't exactly see what it is. And we'll first take a look at this one here, which is going to be Master Zandal, which is going to be 2 and 2 blue for a 2/2 Venser Shaper Savant. Nice, nice. I'm glad that we got this one here. I don't think that they've made too many Vensers there, or repinted him many times. He's going to have Flash, and when he ETBs, you return target spell or permanent to its owner's hand. So that means that you can return a card that's being cast to its owner's hand there. It's a very, very nifty card there, and I'm actually going to sleeve that one up there because I do find it very interesting there. Not as interesting as Yuffie, so I mean, it is going to be going underneath there. But what double-sided card could it be? It's going to be Dion Bahamut's Dominant. Okay, so one of the friends there for this Joshua there, but in this alternate artwork as well. 3 and a white for a 3/3 legendary human noble knight. Dragonfire dive during your turn. Dion and other knights you control have flying. Okay, give him some evasion. When he ETBs, you create a 2/2 white knight creature token. So, you know, you create 5 power there. And for 4 and 2 white, you can tap and exile him to return him you can return him summoned on this side here. Bahamut, Warden of Light, a 5/5 flyer. Okay, good with evasion. Wings of Light, put a +1/+1 in each other creature you control. Those creatures gain flying until end of turn for 2. That's nice there. Go wide board like you were wanting to. And Giga Flare, destroy target permanent, exile, Abominant. So the last one there is just going to be exiling a permanent. So good for a go wide board there. You know, seems pretty decent. We're down to our last 3 packs there. Might Materia, Strength Within, you know, give us the luck to get something amazing in this here. All right, getting a little hero action, getting a little treasure. And what are we going to have here? Going to get a little bit of Gigantode. 3 in a green for a... Oh, I should move these items off. For a 4/4, as long as you control 7 or more lands, creature gets +2/+2. Okay, pretty simple one there. Also going to be getting a Namazu Trader. 3 and a black for a 3/4 Fish Citizen. When this ETBs, you lose 1 life and get a treasure. Okay. Whenever this attacks, you may sack another creature or artifact. If you do, surveil 2. Kind of want to keep my treasure token, so I'm going to pass on that one there. Also going to be getting a little bit of Magitech Infantry. Okay. 1 white for a 1/1 artifact Robot Soldier. With this, creature gets +1/+0 as long as you control another artifact. And 2 and a white, search your library for a card named Magitech Infantry, put it on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. Okay, so, get more copies of itself there. Also going to be getting a little bit of Coral Sword. 1 red for an artifact equipment with flash. When this ETBs, attach it to target creature you control. It gains first strike until end of turn and gets +1/+0 and 1 to its equipped. So, you essentially pay 1 to give it +1/+0 and first strike there. So nothing super out of the ordinary there. We're also going to be getting a little bit of Eject. See you later there, Aerith. 3 and a blue for an instant with this can't be countered. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, draw a card. Probably going to be trying to get rid of one of your opponent's stuff since it costs so much to play it there. We're also going to be getting a little bit of Galif's Final Act. 1 and a green for an instant with until end of turn. Target creature gets +1/+0 and gains. When this creature dies, put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to its power on up to 1 target creature. A nice little trick there in green for your big stompy boys in order to make keep the power around. We're also going to be getting a little bit of Summon Anima like we had last time. There's this other artwork there. As I said before, very, very grisly looking summon there. And not my favorite one since your opponent gets to choose what they sacrifice there at the very end. And we're also going to be getting a little bit of Stolen Uniform. Man, this is a really, really nice artwork of it. My goodness, that is amazing artwork there. I definitely will use that one in something because I like that effect so much. And we're going to be getting the land here. Yep, nice little hollow with some water in the tree stump there, going along with it there. But man, that Stolen Uniform is great artwork. First rare is going to be a little bit of Summon Titan. Okay, we got that one. That was our first final card there with extra artwork there. So probably nothing, super amazing there, as we had said. The last one there gives a little bit of Craterhoof Behemoth. Not Craterhoof Behemoth, but like Blanchwood Armor. Almost like there, for 1 creature. And next up, we're going to be grabbing a little bit of Summon Yojimbo. It's going to be 3 and a white for a 5/5 Enchantment Saga Samurai with Vigilance. Exile target artifact, enchantment, or tapped creature an opponent controls. Okay. Exiling something already off the bat, nice. 2 and 3 is going to be until your next turn, creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each of those creatures. A little bit of propaganda effect there. That's also nice. And for 4, create X treasure tokens, where X is the number of opponents who control a creature with power 4 or greater. So, potentially getting 3 treasures is not the worst thing ever. So we'll certainly take that one there as well. Don't mind this double-faced card here. We're going to get a little bit of Vaughn, the Street Thief from Final Fantasy XII, our good old pro tag, who also showed up in Final Fantasy Tactics Advance 2. 2 and a red for a 2/2 Legendary Human Scout with whatever 1 or more scouts, pirates, and or rogues you control deal combat damage to a player. Exile the top card of that player's library. You may cast it. If you don't, you create a treasure token. Already playing cards off the top. We like that. Whenever you cast a spell you don't own, put a +1/+1 counter on each scout, pirate, and rogue you control. So, you're playing an archetype there, which I think is very interesting. We'll certainly take that. And I wonder who this could be, the Bahamut Warden of Light. It's that same Dion Bahamut's dominant that we got before, just non-foil this time. Womp womp. But, get another copy just in case for that there. We've got 2 cards remaining here. Bonus sheet card is going to be Ooh, Battle at the Big Bridge. Now that is a very, very nice looking card. And it's a Fatal Push. Certainly take that. Fatal Push is a good card, and this is amazing artwork. 1 black for an instant with destroy target creature if it has mana value 2 or less, and destroy that creature if it has mana value 4 or less instead of a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn. So very similar to that other effect that we had there. Actually, at this point here, I should probably just sleeve up this Brainstorm as well, since, I enjoy that as well, but this artwork for Battle at the Big Bridge is just too good. All right, our final card of this pack is going to be, Squall, Seed Mercenary. Okay, I don't think we had gotten this guy quite yet there, but Squall is going to be a 2, a white and a black for a 3/4 legendary human knight mercenary with Rough Divide. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gains double strike until end of turn. Okay, I think that the other guy that we got also did something like that. Whenever Squall deals combat damage to a player, return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's not too bad. I think that the other one that we had was red. Right here, Cypher. Yeah, Cypher. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, gains double strike there. So with lightning there, does combat damage, you get to cast instant or sorcery. So, you could be doing some damage with that there, and dealing multiple combat damages would be nice. Okay. Final 2 packs there. Kind of in a rush here because my camera is about to run out of batteries there. Magic, mana, Strength Within. Please give us the luck that we need to get something amazing. We got the Sephiroth One-Winged Angel emblem. Oh my. Are we going to get Sephiroth in this? And a Robot Warrior. It would be so nice to get Sephiroth in this with that token. Are we going to get a little bit of Heck Dies? 1 and a black for a creature Ooze Horror. When this creature enters, each opponent discards a card. Okay. We're also going to get a little bit of Item Shopkeeper, 1 and a red for a 2/2 human citizen. Whenever you attack target, attacking equipped creature gains menace until end of turn there. Okay, so if we equipped up someone there that is impactful like lightning, give menace, that's not too shabby. Also going to get a little bit of Sephiroth's Intervention. I wonder what scene this could be. 3 and a black for an instant, destroy target creature, you gain 2 life. Oh boy, that's a scene that's burned into people's minds there. We're also going to get a little bit of Sleep Magic. 1 blue. Oh, they've got their little plush there for their Moogle. 1 blue for an enchantment aura. Enchant creature. When this enters, you tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. And when enchanted creature is dealt damage, you sacrifice this aura. That's a fine one there. 2 to kind of take something out of commission there. Looks like we got a little bit of double-sided there. But before we do, we're going to get a little bit of Lock Cole from Final Fantasy VI there. 1, a blue and a black for a 2/3 legendary human rogue with Death Touch and Lifelink. Both sides there. When Lock Cole deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card and then discard a card. So, you get a little bit of digging action there going through. And it looks like our double-face card is going to be Side Quest Play Bits Ball. Hey, yo, Waka, how's it going, my boy? So we're getting a little bit of 2 and a red for an enchantment with at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Good for lightning, and it's in red. At the end of combat on your turn, if a player was dealt 6 or more combat damage this turn, transform this enchantment and attach it to a creature you control. Kind of easy with lightning, and this will turn into World Champion Celestial Weapon. An enchantment equipment, so it automatically equips there, but it gets an additional equip to 3 if you need to. Double Overdrive, the equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has double strike there. Just kind of what we wanted to do. So, gets to keep that essentially static ability there, but also gets double strike there. Yep. Like I said, for lightning, that's kind of the best case scenario. Just give her double strike. Getting another Rufus Shinra there with his pepperoni. Trying to look really intimidating, though. After the World Championship Blitzball there, it's kind of hard to. And we're getting another Prompto Argentum, just like here, just not in Surge foil. So unfortunately, not as great as the other ones we could get, and I would have preferred to get something else instead of a duplicate there. Getting a little bit of planes on the car action, heading out on the road, country road. But big cards are going to be the Lunar Whale, 3 and a blue for a 3/5 legendary vehicle artifact with flying. Crew 1. It's good crew cost. You may look at the top of your card of your library at any time. That's also very good. As long as the Lunar Whale attack this turn, you may play the top card of your library. That's also very good. That can definitely be used in some stuff there. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take this Sephiroth. I'm going to try to give myself a little bit of luck and put it there so that hopefully Sephiroth is on the actual bottom here. We're actually going to get a Rosa Resolute White Mage, 3 and a white for a 2/3 legendary human noble cleric with reach. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control against lifelink until end of turn. Seems like a fine card there. Nothing super out of the ordinary. It gets +1/+1 counters every turn and lifelink, so not too bad. I mean, could certainly help out with Hope, being able to get some extra life gain action there. We're also going to begin a little bit of Avalanche of Sector 7, the good old buddies at the beginning of the Final Fantasy VII there. 2 and a red for a star 3, legendary human rebel with menace. Avalanche of Sector 7's power is equal to the number of artifacts your opponents control. So makes sense with how they're trying to invade Shinra Company there. Whenever an opponent activates an ability of an artifact they control, this will deal 1 damage to that player. Okay. A little bit of a control in that red there against artifacts. I kind of dig it. Okay, and we're also going to be getting, the numbered artwork for Golbez, and God, I love those colors on him there. Oh, it looks so good. Always being able to get some upgraded art is always amazing. So we had put that one there because we want to make Sephiroth appear on the bottom. This is going to be our bonus sheet card, and it's going to be Wind Rose Rebellion, which is counterspell. So it's decent there. I wish I got it in the foiling because that probably would have looked amazing. Basic counterspell, 2 blue mana, instant counter target spell. We'll certainly take that, but we want to manifest. Magic, mana, strength within. Please give us the luck. No, it's not. It's not Sephiroth. Oh! Instead, we're going to get Xenos Galvus, 3 and 2 black for a 4/4 legendary human noble warrior. My first friend. When Xenos Galvus enters, choose a creature an opponent controls. Until end of turn, creatures other than Xenos Galvus and the chosen get -2/-2. Okay, that could help out getting a lot of things out. When the chosen creature leaves the battlefield, you transform Xenos. Okay. And he's going to be a Shinryu Transcendent Arrival, an 8/8 legendary dragon with flying. As this creature transforms into Shinryu, choose an opponent. Burning Chains, when the chosen player loses the game, you win the game. So this is very much a commander card there, because it's like they lose the game and you win the game in a 1v1. I mean, that really doesn't matter. But, I mean, it is one of these guys there that I think is easy to transform up, and you get an 8/8 flyer. I mean, it doesn't have much protection, but hey, that's how it goes. Last pack Magic, we're running low on the batteries there. Hopefully we're going to be able to get something amazing in this last pack. We've gotten surprisingly few mythics there, is the only thing that I'm going to say. So I hope that we can get a mythic there. We're getting a Chocobo. Hopefully he's a sign of good luck. A little bit of Scorpion Sentinel there from Final Fantasy VII. 1 and a blue, 1 and a 1/4 artifact Robot Scorpion. As long as you control 7 or more lands, this gets +3/+0. Okay. Big 7 influence there. Going to be getting our Solemn Far Plain Gateway there. Another town that's going to be our green and blue tapped town. We are also going to be getting up here Haste Magic. Okay. 1 and a red for an instant with target creature gets +3/+1, gains haste until end of turn. Exile top card of your library. You may play it until your next end step. Not too shabby there. I'll certainly take that. It's a good little quick pump spell. Pretty good in Feather as well. Feather redeemed. The battle menu, 1 and a white with an instant, choose 1. Attack, create a 2/2 white knight creature token. Ability, target creature gets +0/+4 until end of turn. Toughness matters. Magic, destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. Okay. An item, gain 4 life. So I'd probably say magic is probably the most used one there, but, probably a couple other ones. Life gain is probably going to be the least used there. Don't look at that. We'll get to that in a second there. Torgal, Finehound. We had seen this one before in the alternate artwork there, but this is going to be its regular one there with the human-dog synergy, or human or wolf there, also being a little bit of a mana dork. We'll certainly take the regular one there. And we're also going to get the Ultimecia card. Oh, yeah. Look at how beautiful her dress is. Ultimecia, the Time Sorceress, 3, a blue and a black for a 4/5 legendary human warlock. With when this ETBs or attacks, you'll surveil 2. And at the beginning of your end step, you may pay 4, 2 blue and 2 black, and exile 8 cards from your graveyard if you do transform Ultimecia. 8 mana, 8 cards. I wonder what that could be referencing. And Ultimecia, Omnipotent, legendary Nightmare Warlock 7/7. Has menace and time compression. When this creature transforms into Ultimecia Omnipotent, you take an extra turn after this. Oh my. Now, if you're able to flicker this, I believe that it flickers back to Ultimecia. And you can try to take multiple turns or something like that there. Next up, we're going to be getting a little bit of more Queen Brawn there as we had last time. In an extended art non-foil this time. And we're also going to get a Summon Shiva. Very, very beautiful one there. 3 and 2 blue for a 4/5 with on first and second lore counter, Heavenly Strike. Tap target creature and opponent controls. Put a stun counter on it. And on Diamond Dust, the last one there, you draw a card for each tapped creature and opponent controls your opponent's control. So if you can tap down a whole lot of their stuff there in any fashion, you can be drawing a whole bunch of cards off of that one there. So not too shabby with that either. We'll certainly take that. And our land is going to be a nice island back to the island paradise with Unatitas and all the other Final Fantasy X cast there. First rare is going to end up being a mythic, Go-Go, Master of Mimicry. 2 and a blue for a 2/4 legendary wizard with double X and tap. Copy target activated or triggered ability you control X times. You may choose new targets for the copies. This ability can't be copied and X can't be 0. Oh my, that is an amazing effect there. Being able to copy abilities. Yes, please, 100%. We will 100% take that. Sorry, Bob, but Go-Go is on the top now. Oh, and there is going to be our Aerith Gainsborough with her alternate artwork. So we got her an extra one for the commander deck there, but for the regular Aerith, 2 and a white, 2/2 legendary human cleric with lifelink. Whenever you gain life, you put a +1/+1 counter on Aerith. And when Aerith dies, you put X +1/+1 counters on each legendary creature you control, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on Aerith. So you have to do, you want to have a combination of life gain and legendary creatures, but it's quite possible there. All right, next up we're going to have a little bit of Fandaniel, Telephoroi, Askian. What a name. 4/5 legendary elder wizard with whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you surveil 1. Okay, that's nice. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent may sack a non-token creature of their choice. Each opponent who doesn't loses 2 life for each instant and sorcery in your graveyard. Oh, yeah, they're going to be sacking their creatures up. Oh, yeah, that's definitely from... Oh, that's from Final Fantasy XIV there, because it's what, non-token? Yeah, it's instant and sorceries, yeah. That's going to hurt there. I accidentally saw what that bottom one is. It's fortunately not going to be super great, but we're going to get Heli Trooper, 1 and a white, 1/2 human soldier with flying. Whenever this creature attacks, another target attacking creature gains flying until end turn. Okay. Equipped abilities, you activate that target. This creature costs 2 less to activate. It's okay. Nothing super great, but it is going to be a foil extended art of that, which we haven't gotten with any of those other ones there. So we're going to just take a peek at this one here because we have already picked it up, and maybe this last one here is going to be good, but because we saw the back of this is going to be Kuja Genome Sorcerer that we had last time, just in the alternate artwork with the numbers on it, and I think that this looks pretty darn good for as it is there. Got the back there with the whole mutant trance version of it there, and it just looks kind of intense, almost like a Super Saiyan 4 type of deal, so we'll certainly take that one there. Got our little Chocobo bird and hero, and for the final card that we're going to have in the set there for our bonus sheet, it's going to be another Battle at the Big Bridge. So getting a duplicate of that there and finishing us off with some good art. Well, we didn't get quite as many mythics as I was hoping to, but we certainly did get quite a bit. We got 3 of the mythics that I was really, really hoping for. I mean, I wanted to try to get a Sephiroth if possible. Obviously, if I could have gotten one of the good Chocobos there, that would have been nice, but we'll certainly take what we had here. Hey, so you might be wondering, what happened? You know, what was with this very sudden cut? You know, you don't have any of the cards out here now. Well, as you probably heard there towards the end, my battery was running very low for my camera, and what do you know, just as soon as I finish up getting that final card there, it decided that that was the time that it wanted to end, and my battery completely died. I thought that I completely lost the video for a pretty long time, long enough that I actually recorded a second video where I just took out everything of note, whether it was something that had any value, if it was a rare, or if it was just a card that I wanted to talk about there, because there were some that I just was interested in, even if it wasn't a card that had any value in it, because I just like the idea of building decks and being able to play them with people, and I do like to get myself some interesting cards or any of the interesting artworks on them. It just excites me as a collector and as a player. But, you know, so I went through that whole second video, and I went to go download everything off of my camera just because I was like, okay, you know, I didn't see it beforehand. And for whatever reason, even though it didn't show up on the camera per se, it decided to show up when I was extracting it off of the camera. I have no idea why. That's just how it worked. So this box that I ended up getting, I think for context, because if these Final Fantasy boxes were expensive, very, very expensive. This one I ended up buying pretty much as soon as it had come out, and I had gotten it for about $700, and I will probably have in my standard place here the value that it was, and it was just slightly underneath that amount there. And in some sense, you could say that it might have been, well, let's just say, in some sense, you could say, oh, well, you could have just gotten the cards individually. And, you know, that could be right there if we were just talking about all of the rares, mythics, the bonus sheet cards there, and anything that had a dollar value of a dollar more. However, there were cards that I do have an interest in that weren't at that price point either. So there's cards factoring in there that don't really have a value that I put within the box. I just put in the stuff that I think I should, being the rares, mythics, anything that's in a bonus sheet, or anything that's in the common uncommon slot that's more than $1. That's just how I want to do it there. So in that sort of sense, maybe with all of the commons and uncommons, it probably paid for the box, or maybe a little bit more for the box. If we're just talking about all of the things that have value to them, it doesn't really do it. However, something I did learn from it is that these cards here that I ended up getting from the collector booster samplers from the commander decks there, we can discount those there, but it's just like, they don't really have a ton of value behind them there until we get to these foil ones, particularly Alice and Tataru, because the foil extended arts for these cards from the Final Fantasy Commander decks there do have a lot of value to them. I can't quite remember what Alice is like, but I will put it somewhere, probably in my normal place. But Tataru, on the other hand, I know is more than at least when I was last checking, was around $50 or so. So, I'll put that over there as well. So if you want to try to combine some of these cards here in it to see how much each of them might have done, altogether these kind of add up to be a little bit more than that. Now, I did also, by the time that I'm recording this little monologue here, as you'll see later on, I did a second box. I was able to get a second box there for a little bit more. I don't exactly know what the value on that is going to be since I've opened up the box, but I have not, as of yet, done my little price guide to be able to edit into the video to say this is how much every single card was and what the total box was. But I have a feeling that box, even though I paid a little bit more for it there, I think had some better and more consistent hits potentially. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't look too deep. I do know that there is something in there that has some value, but its value has fluctuated pretty heavily there. So when that comes up, we'll see. But I did want to come in and just say why all of a sudden my video just cut out for no reason. But I did want to thank you for coming in and watching this. I know that it was a very long one, but Final Fantasy is something that I'm excited about there. As I said, I'm more excited about it than Spider-Man, so, I wanted to go more in depth with this if I could. So, thank you for sitting through this here, for all of these diary entries that I go through, and listening to someone who's just excited to do stuff with their hobbies. So I wish the best for you. Have some luck with whatever it is that you're having to do at the moment, whether it's a project at home, something at work, or just something in your hobbies like I am. And please take care of yourself. I'll look forward to having you back another time. And until then, I'll see you later.